guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sopo and I am filming another video, this time from kitchen, because it's gonna be about this kitchen installation that we have over here. Marble that is highly coveted nowadays, and a lot of people are loving this natural material. I know that there are proponents and opponents of it, and I've done the video with regards to it when we were still designing and planning this kitchen. We had tons of difficulties to find anyone who would work with this floating shelf installation and the marble backdrop that I wanted so much, because there are not that many experienced stonemasons who have done that in the kitchens. But we pushed through. It looks effortless, it looks chic, it looks stylish, but it's also very functional, and I'm loving it so much. Apparently you are loving it too, because I got a few questions on YouTube and I think on Instagram. If anyone ever has made any questions next to like few bits and bobs, it has been with regards to the kitchen. So I thought, why not use the opportunity and make a separate video dedicated to it. I have my cup of warm tea over here. Bring along your warm drinks. I have my notes, and we can get started. So a few details about the kitchen. First of all, it's a U-shaped kitchen, even though you only see this wall, and we have marble as a countertop all across this space. I'm gonna insert the videos and pictures as much as possible, so that when I'm talking you get also a glimpse of different corners. I just wanted to stand on one spot and retell you the details with regards to it. The wall over here is 3 meters and 40 centimeters long. The entire space of the kitchen is approximately 9 square meters. It's detached from the living room area, which is on the other side. There was an option to put like a wall over here and have an opening through there. When we bought this house, they had like the structure of the house there already. The wall was existent, but we were given an opportunity to decide if we want it to be a separate room. There is an entrance on the other side of this wall, so you would have an opportunity to directly enter the kitchen if we would decide for the door over there. Because I was already set in my mind having such a like open shelving with marble or other natural stone, more tending to have marble in my mind. I did not really want to sort of have a cut in this wall. Second, I don't like kitchens being separated from the living area. I know there are people who love it or hate it, but for me it was definitely clear that I really wanted to be in the kitchen but also entertain the guests. The table starts just when the kitchen ends over here. Also, being in the kitchen, I have an opportunity to look across the living room, look at the TV if I would want to, and that's exactly the style that I was longing for. Also, to bear in mind, this is a townhouse, so the cuts are a bit more like elongated in terms of the space, and I think that if we would put a wall, it would have created a bit more like boxy space. That's the thoughts behind deciding this room to be like the way it is. I won't go into depth of like why we decided for U-shape with vis-a-vis the L shape, why we didn't do the upper cabinetry, but instead I'm gonna link a video which I filmed while we still lived in our old flat, and we had this many rounds of discussions with the kitchen designers and studios how to make this space stylish, functional, and also fit to my imagination. So first things first, as far as I know, the marble that we used over here comes from Greece and it's called Hadrian. We went to a hall where they had tons of different natural stones, big slabs, and you could make a choice on your own or you could order some particular marbles, but we decided that we would go with something that we would see with our own eyes, because despite knowing particular marbles that I really love, like Calacata Viola or Calacata, generally like the family of the Calcutta marbles, I was scared that if we would order it, there would come a slab that would have not exactly the look that I want, because it's a natural stone. No one can ever really guarantee how veined it's gonna be or what patterns and colors it's gonna contain. So we went with something that was already there. As told, it's called Hadrian, and we decided for using the entire like thickness of those slabs. So it is 3 centimeters thick over here, but also over here, as you can tell. It's a very beautiful marble, if you ask me, and gives very effortless but also calming vibe, which I definitely wanted to go to, especially in the kitchen, with all the warm tonality that we have across, with the wood and different textures that come into the living space. Anyway, I wanted this to have a bit more like calm appearance, but also to have strong veining, which is like seen over here. Also, the stonesmith did a brilliant job when like cutting them. He really gave a thought and had an entire plan when we came there, how he would cut them so that the veining would most likely like adjust well and continue. One negative point of it being that like pale in terms of the color, I would say, is that the cut which was made over here, it only has like one cut on entire length of 3 meters and 40 centimeters long. You definitely still see the place where these 2 slabs were adjusted, even though he tried to work very thorough and smooth. I think that if we would have worked with a bit more like highly veined or dark veined marble, it would have been easier to hide that like cut moment, but it doesn't bother me that much. And I'm absolutely happy with the work that they have done. The color scheme of this marble is like containing a little bit of yellow, but also a lot of gray, and the base is like off-white muted color. I don't know if the light fixtures right now are changing how you see it, but most of the time when I try to picture something, it often comes off as very white. Generally speaking, it's super difficult to bring the ease and effortlessness in the room, because everyone knows that behind that there is a lot of engineering and a lot of thinking that went through to make it look that like in harmony with the flow of the life. I always say home is a space that I want to be like my, I don't know, safe haven, my calming area. I don't like a lot of things standing around, but I also like them to be very intentional. I didn't want kitchen to be only used for the glassware, for example, bowls and platters, but I also wanted it to be an extension of the living room, to have like space for flowers, for a little bit of art, maybe to add in the future a little mirror or a lamp. So to be frank, I wanted the fusion of style, functionality, and the aesthetic that I was going through. It's not like my invention. I found this type of kitchens on Pinterest first time that I discovered Athena Calderone with her Brooklyn house in New York, and I was totally smitten. I bought her book even and started to stalk her house, like interior design pictures. It became soon after apparent that she herself took an inspiration from the Parisian architect Joseph Durand, which has an amazing, stunning house in Paris and uses very beautiful marble to create like this insane kitchen that he has. With a bit more like rounded edges and this effortless floating shelf that I was dreaming for myself. Now with regards to the installation, I'm very sorry that I don't have any type of footage or pictures of the day. We live in Germany, privacy is a huge topic, so the guys who were working in here would definitely not want that I would pull out the camera, or that my husband would pull out the camera and start filming this area. Usually you have to get like entire documents signed by them that you are filming them, and it would have been a little bit awkward, not to even mention that it was a little bit overwhelming. I was staying at home with the cats and Falco was here observing their work, so I only have pictures once the shelf got installed, but I am aware of the process that we had to go through to make it stable and to make it secure. There were tons of challenges related to the fabrication and installation of it, but as told, I would highly recommend you to watch the previous video that I had with regards to the topic. You can also check out my Instagram. I have like home Instagram. I dreamt this home, where I'm documenting the progress of our home, not like progress, but like how we transform it daily, how we live in it daily. And there is always something that adds up, that leaves the house, and I find it very inspiring for myself, and I hope as well for others. So I'm gonna insert the screenshot over here and link the Instagram page down below if you want to check it out. Once we found someone who was willing to put up with the challenge and try working with the marble, he created the plan how the 2 slabs that we purchased would have to be cut so that it would sort of continue the line in this U shape and would not contradict each other. There are people also who intentionally decide for mirroring the marble in the middle, but we tried the different variations, and in none of the constellation it looked as nice as it is. So for you to imagine, the veining always goes like this way and ends up on the other side in the same direction. So he had this plan which he portrayed to us and got a confirmation from us. Another big topic was how to install this floating shelf so that we would not need like external brackets that would have been visible. That was something that they suggested from the beginning, and I saw as well in many Pinterest pictures, but I definitely wanted it to be bracket free and to look very airy and very natural without external securities visible on it. As told, because the wall was already there, we could not have made any changes within the structure of the wall. Lucky for us, the stone is very stable. It's called in German Steinwand. I don't know if it translates word by word in English, which would be like stone wall. But at least it's not hollow inside, if you know what I mean. When you try to like hang something, you drill and you just end up with like hollow area in the back. That would have made it practically impossible to install this shelf over here. We knew that we would be working with very solid glues that can carry a lot of weight, and that's the case when it comes to using the natural stones. But having such 20 centimeter floating bracket-free shelf would not be possible only with like gluing it on the wall. In an ideal world, if we would have been here and would have had a say when building up the wall, there should have been done metal studs with the plywood blocking in between those studs, and then the stone had to be slided inside the plywood blocking between those slats. That way it would look like it's floating from the wall, but you would have part of this marble going and sliding inside the wall, which would give it a security. But as said, the wall was already there, so instead the option that our metalsmith proposed was to use metal brackets, so to call it like long metal steel brackets that were drilled into the marble first of all, and on the other side into the wall. I think on this entire length they used 9 pieces of this steel brackets, and there was a huge fear that the marble would start to crumble, because especially this marble, Hadrian, is very soft. It was starting to chip even when they tried to sort of polish and correct the working space. I also wanted it to be honed and not to be like glancy, and they had already there huge trouble to keep it intact, but they worked, I don't know what precision work they did, but they managed to keep it intact without breaking it, and now it's mountain solid. I remember that they were also trying to pull it down and see if it would fall. To be frank, I actually wanted it to be 5 centimeters longer, but that would have already changed the weight balance so much that the brackets that we used would not have been enough, so we decided to stay with the 20 centimeter floating shelf, which is not enough for the dinner plates, but is fine for displaying little bowls and vases and stuff like that. Apart from the metal brackets that go into the wall and the marble, they used also glass fiber. I never heard about it, but apparently if you use it across the entire length of this floating shelf, it gives an extra stability. It is underneath the marble, somewhere like up to 1/3 of the length of this shelf. We were even discussing if we would do 2 layers of it, but at the end 1 was already enough. In the beginning they were worried that it would be visible to an eye, but I'm already short and I don't even see it. So most of the people see the shelf from the top, and I don't think that even when visible that this would have created a big problem in terms of like visual appeal. Glass fiber itself consists of extremely fine fibers together, that makes it super strong material apparently. That was an additional measure that was inserted to make sure that the marble would not start to break down on the outer edge, which was like pointing to the roof. Especially cats sometimes run around here and they jump on it, so it has a different like weight points. We thought that going with any extra step that would guarantee its longevity would be justified. To be very frank, I don't know what else to retell. That's basically it, I think, with regards to the shelf system and its installation and fabrication. Securing the worktop was not a big problem at all. We used the same material as a backsplash, which was a huge discussion point as well with most of the kitchen studios, but living a year and a half in here, cooking curry and everything, literally, we don't restrain ourselves back because of the marble. We have not even had a single pot that stayed on it. Even if it happens, I wouldn't mind, because I decided in favor of this imperfect, perfect look in my mind when choosing marble. But just to speak out of our experience, that everything that you're told in the shops or by the experts doesn't turn out to be true. You just have to know yourself, your lifestyle, your preferences, and always go with the gut. That's my suggestion when it comes to styling your home or living your life the way you want it. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, stay on board. I try to film once a week, and I'm doing it eagerly, but that only makes sense when you are there watching and communicating with me as well. I'm gonna see you in my next one.